Hello, lovely soul. Today is a beam inner movement of energy class. This is using a shine technique, self-acupressure, to work on two of the kidney meridian points, kidney 1 and kidney 27 points. It's very, very helpful for anxiety, for depression, for hot flashes, whether you're in menopause and all of that heat is coming up into your upper body, or even if you have adrenal sweats, which come from adrenal fatigue, where your body's trying to balance the water element energies and trying to produce more fire, more heat into your kidneys. And so you might wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares or hot sweats. These are known as adrenal sweats. Very, very common when you're under a lot of stress. These points are also really helpful if you suffer with panic attacks. And I have great compassion for you. I've struggled for maybe 30 years with my own anxiety issues and had a pretty rough menopause there for a couple of years. So I know too well how it feels when you are having a challenge breathing and you tend to breathe into your chest rather than being able to get the breath into your lower belly where it needs to go to feed those water elemental energies in your pelvis. This is also really good for head congestion. If you tend to get sinus issues, because it brings the heat, brings the excess energy out of your head and down into your feet, so it can then be rooted and grounded into your body. It also helps with the kidney 27 points, can help with a sore throat, because our kidney energy starts in our feet, comes up our inner thighs, our inner legs, comes through our hip flexors, and then ends here on the chest. But there's these internal branches that affect the throat, so it can really help if you have a sore throat. Also very strengthening for the immune system, which we all need right now and in the winter time especially. So kidney 27 can really help to strengthen your immune system and help give you a little bit of a boost. The kidney 1 point, which we'll go into a little bit more in a minute, is very good for if you have convulsions, if you have a tendency to tremble after you've had a shock or after you've had a panic attack or a nervous system response that is reminding you of a past experience. Also very helpful for relieving fatigue. There's one thing we know, that anxiety is exhausting. It really takes it out of you to have to keep fighting for your breath. And depression is exhausting. And depression is where there's not enough energy coming into your brain. So we can see how it's actually very easy to start balancing these very typical water element disorders with self-acupressure. Now, this particular practice is done seated, and that's really helpful because if you know when you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, your tendency is just to want to curl in, get back into bed, withdraw, get down on the floor, whatever it is that you tend to want to do. So we can do both of these practices sitting. One of the first things I want to show you is how important it is to allow your hip flexors to relax when you're sitting down. Now, this particular couch that I have has pretty decent back support. I've got a pillow behind me that helps me feel supported, because when I'm feeling anxious or I'm having a nervous system response to a trigger outside of me, I need to feel like something has got my back. So I would recommend that you are sat upright as much as you can, and that you place something behind your back to give you that sense of feeling supported and safe. Now, you might be able to see or not that when I'm sitting on this couch, the tendency is that my knees are above my hips. Well, that immediately draws the front body forward, collapses the energy here, and it doesn't allow these hip flexors that have the kidney meridian energy run right through them, right through those psoas muscles. So when you're in a state of fight, flight, or freeze or fright response, those hip flexors tend to tighten up. So one thing that is very simple that you can do is to get a bath towel, just a regular bath towel. You can roll it lengthwise if you wish, or use 2 different bath towels, or whatever works for you. I generally find, for me, that I need a little bit of height. I need to have a little bit of support underneath my sit bones. What that does, and I'm going to show you this from the side so you can see the difference. So this is me sitting right now. In order for me to sit upright and try to get breath down in my body, which it's right here right now, which is very typical when we feel nervous, and anyone that knows me knows that cameras make me nervous. So even though no one's here watching me, that's a response that my body has learned. So I can show you how this really does work to start shifting how I can breathe more easily. So rolling up the towel, I'm going to just place this under my sit bones here for a minute so you can see. Your sit bones are those 2 pieces of bone that when you feel underneath your butt, it's that part of your pelvis that comes down. Already you can see that, wow, my chest is lifted. I'm not forcing this. I'm not holding myself in this position. In fact, if I try to roll forward from here, it's kind of challenging. So getting your knees in line with your pelvis, or even slightly lower, is really important if you have tight hip flexors, if you have lower back pain, if you have anxiety, if you have hot flashes. This is all connected here as well to your reproductive system, to your bladder and your kidneys, your adrenals. So making sure that you've got that support there so that you don't have to do as much work is so important. So I'm going to position that so that I've got the pillow behind my back, and I can settle my sit bones into the towel beneath me. And immediately my breath is already about here, whereas a moment ago it was kind of stuck up here in my stomach area, in the upper part of the diaphragm. So the first points are called Elegant Mansion. They're called Kidney 27 acupressure points. And the fingers that we want to use to work these specific points are the middle fingers. Your middle fingers, from an elemental perspective, connect you to the ether element, to the element that's outside of you, to the universal consciousness, to God, to whatever it is that you believe in that exists as a loving force that is there to support you. And the middle fingers actually connect your pericardium channel around your heart. So Cooper's come to join me. Hey, Cooper. So your pericardium channel starts at the tip of your middle finger, and it runs up the inside of your arm and comes and ends on your chest. And sweet buddy, you're gonna be in the way. Both sides, same thing. Your pericardium is that fluid-filled sac that surrounds and protects your heart organ from damage. So when you have anxiety or you have a panic attack, it's very common to have palpitations. He wants to be in on the energy. He says, I like it when Mama does this stuff. This is awesome. Hey, sweetheart, I really need you to get down though. So kidney 27 points, where are they? Well, I'm going to come forward a little bit so I can show you. You can see up close. So your collarbone, your clavicle, you want to trace your fingers along until you come to the end, where the bony protuberances are at the end. And then place your hands out to the side so your index, middle, and ring finger are resting. You literally just found the bony part, lift up. And where your middle finger sinks into is into these two indentations right beneath your collarbone. That is where your kidney 27 points are located. And if I take my fingers away, you can see those two indentations there next to the breastbone. So that's where they're located. As are most acupressure points, they're located in hollows, or hollers, as they say in the south of America. So in these hollows or indentations is where you're going to want to apply pressure, but you don't want to press straight in. You don't want to make your arms all tense when you're doing it. You want the pressure to be going towards the middle of your body, towards the center line. And one thing I like to do is to rest my elbows so that I'm not causing more tension in my upper trapezius muscle, which is also connected to your kidney meridian. So when you understand what muscles are connected to your anxiety, to your hot flashes, to your depression, you can help release those, and that will open up the energies even more. So again, coming to the end of the collarbone, bringing the hands out to the sides, wherever that middle finger lops into there, that's where your kidney 27 points are. Like I said, you don't want to push straight in. You want to aim towards the center of your body. And you can relax the rest of your fingers. You can put your other fingers on either side of your middle finger to help support it. And if you wish, you can join your little fingers together, and your thumbs are actually resting on two other very potent acupressure points, lung points, that will help you to breathe. So if I come a little bit closer and show you that, I've got my middle fingers on kidney 27. The other fingers are supporting it. My little fingers are coming in just above my heart, and my thumbs are resting on what are called lung 1 points. So it's a very comforting, calming feeling to have your hands in this position. And the little fingers connect to your water element energies. They also connect to your heart. So anytime you join those together, it will also calm any disturbance that's going on in your heart, such as palpitations, a rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure. So you only need to work on this for maybe 3 minutes. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor, connected to the earth, to ground you, to bring that excess energy, that excess heat out of the head and down through the body. So I'm going to go within now. These beam inner movements are more about going within with certain techniques in order to intentionally move the energy to get calm. So I'm going to breathe through my nose and out my nose. And as I said earlier, this is great for chest congestion, for chest breathers, for a sore throat. You might notice that you start coughing or have a little bit of phlegm or mucus come up. It's a really great thing. It means that any stagnation of energy is being released. So it's a wonderful thing. Don't worry if you're like all of a sudden letting go. You're pressing on letting go points with your thumbs. At the same time, you're putting more energy into your lungs with that position. So this isn't just like, oh, we'll just push on kidney 27. We've got a lot of different things going on here, and it feels really comforting. So you can imagine you're taking your breath into those points, into kidney 27 points. You can also visualize the color blue-black or indigo, which is the water element color, but it's also the color of your intuition, of your third eye. So it helps you to really go inward and to call upon your inner healer that knows intuitively what you need. So I'm going to close my eyes, get quiet for a moment, and we're just going to breathe here into the kidney 27 point so that I can show you how it changes my own breathing. If you start to yawn, that's a wonderful response. That's your body asking you to take more oxygen in. Yawning actually allows us to slow down. It's been about 3 minutes. One thing I like to do after I've worked on certain acupressure points is to contain the energy there, to hold it there for a moment so that it can integrate. Doesn't matter if you put your left hand over your right or your right hand over your left, but just to allow that wonderful energy that you have just created throughout your chest and your kidney meridian channel to integrate. And you can hear that my voice has gotten a little bit lower. I'm noticing some sinus drainage going on. So this is why the integration time is so important to give yourself. In other words, you really only have to work on a point for 3 minutes and then allow yourself 2 minutes for it to integrate. The difference in my breathing right now is, for me, very palpable. My breath is now all the way getting down into my belly. It started off here, it then felt a bit tight around here, and now I can get a full breath into that wonderful lower part of the belly where the lower dantian is, where your body stores energy, restores it for when you need it. So that's kidney 27. Kidney 1 points that we mentioned earlier are for hot flashes, for anxiety, for depression, for when you need more energy. They're called bubbling springs. They help if you tend to faint, if you tend to get lightheaded. And I've got a really good yawning response going on now. Allow that yawn to happen. It's the way that your nervous system is calming down. It's also that time of the night around 5 o'clock, which is right in between the kidney and bladder meridian times, that we tend to feel the most sleepy. You might want to go and reach for that other cup of coffee or some sugar or some kind of stimulant. But instead of doing that, we can press on kidney 1 points. Now, if you're flexible and you feel like getting down on the ground, you can sit down on the ground and you can put your feet like this and you can work on both kidney 1 points at the same time with your legs out in a butterfly or out in front in a diamond shape. And that's actually very helpful for kidney meridian energy. Now, if you're feeling like I am right now, which is very sleepy, this is why I chose to do this at this time, then you can do this sitting down. You can cross one foot over the other, and I'm resting my leg. You can put a pillow underneath your knee, whatever feels comfortable for you to feel supported, so that you're not having to hold your leg up or tighten anything. And you can, make it a little bit lower if you want to, whatever feels comfortable for you. So the kidney 1 points are located in the soles of the feet, right in the center beneath the padding. So if you put your middle finger there and you kind of flex your toes backwards and forwards, you'll feel that your finger will fall into a natural indentation. That's the kidney 1. This is on my right foot. Now we do want to energize this, especially if we're feeling tired, feeling worn out from having a lot of anxiety. So we're going to use the thumbs on these points. Your thumbs are connected to your fire element energy. So wherever you put your thumbs, you're creating heat to go in there. And because the kidneys tend to get cold, and the kidney channel tends to get cold, our feet get cold, right? Our toes get cold, our lower back gets chilly. We can use the thumb points. So I'm just resting my thumb onto that kidney 1 point, allowing my other fingers to relax on the outside, and I'm going to gently press into that point in the center of the sole of the foot, right beneath the padding. Breathing as if I'm taking my breath all the way down into that point, even if it's not quite getting there. Now, because the fire element is the color red, and the root chakra, which is your base energy center at the base of your pelvis that feeds the energy in your legs and feet, is also the color red, you can imagine or visualize that you're pushing a red, warm, soothing light into that point. So you can close your eyes, gentle pressure. One thing you can do if your thumb is starting to ache is you can press one thumb on top of the other and wrap that around your foot so that you've got your foot nicely supported, and you can push that top thumb then into the other one, and you're not hurting, you're not putting any pressure on the thumb joint, you're not bending your thumb, you're not trying to dig it in, you're just applying gentle, steady pressure, allowing your chest to remain open so you're not like crowded over. And if you're having a challenge with reaching your foot, one thing you can do is get a tennis ball, and you can place a tennis ball underneath your foot and apply pressure to this point for up to 3 minutes. You can roll your foot around on the tennis ball if you like. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I like to rotate my thumb around in a clockwise direction. Clockwise brings energy in. Visualizing the color red, which is like the opposite to the blue-black color of the water element. Putting some heat in there, imagining that I'm warming up that point with my thumbs, which are already putting some warmth in there. Now you may think, well, why would you do that if you were having a hot flash or if your head was hot? Well, what we're actually doing is we are bringing the excess energy out of our head down into our feet. We're nourishing the kidney channel, which will also help to take that heat out of your head. But we need to warm up the kidney channel when we're in a state of anxiety, or if we're feeling slightly blah and we need a little bit more energy, as I do, to get through the rest of the day, make some more videos, do some more editing, do the things I need to do without reaching for that cup of coffee or that cup of tea that is only going to make me more depleted later on. It might give you a momentary boost of energy, but it puts a lot of stress on your adrenals, which are already probably like little fried walnuts sitting on top of your kidneys. So we want to be gentle with those adrenals, especially if you've had lifelong anxiety, as I have had. We have to be really tender with them. So after you've pressed on the point, you might notice that it's kind of red there. There's actually a pretty big indentation there. That's all normal. That's okay. It did you notice I stopped yawning? I wasn't forcing those yawns before. I was literally, I could have crashed and gone and laid down and taken a nap for a bit. But when you're in that heightened state of anxiety, for me, a nap, I think I'm really tired, and then I go to lay down and I'm like, oh, I feel even worse now because that energy hasn't been dissipated that was causing the angst. So the same on the other side. Got something stuck on the bottom of my foot there. Probably a cat treat. So, so locating kidney 1 on the left foot. Now I started on the right because the right kidney tends to be the one, for me at least, that needs more energy. It's the one that tends to produce more warmth, more vitality, more energy in your sexual organs, your pelvis, your reproductive organs. So we're locating kidney 1 point again, resting my knee on a pillow, keeping the chest open. The other foot is planted directly beneath my knee on the floor, toes are spread nice and wide, receiving nourishment from the earth, receiving her grounding and her water elemental energy. Placing one thumb on top of the other, I'm applying just gentle pressure. Breathing into the point,